and we're going to share a few of them. It's going to be a little bit of a fireside chat here. And Vince, I appreciate you being in here. For those who are joining in on Cigar Newbies, what's up? For those who are joining in on YouTube, what's happening? And for those who are on our Industrial Cigar Company Facebook page, you want to throw your patented?
Good day, mate.
Beautiful.
How are you? There
That's
we go. It's so classy tonight that I'm drinking my Dr. Pepper from a Waterford crystal glass. It says the Big Kahuna on it.
Yep.
And you'll notice, just again, tip of the day, when you drink a Dr. Pepper like this, pinky out is really critical.
I promise you it's going to get better because we're going to go ahead and thank one of our sponsors here, Busch Bavarian. If you're going to drink a beer,
drink a Busch
Bavarian.
There you go. And again, the cry goes out to anybody that knows anybody at Busch Bavarian.
Or if it's still a company, we're going to
all be dead. I mean, that was in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get into smoking cigars because I know we are more palatable people when people are also smoking cigars and drinking while watching us.
And tonight's drinking game is every time we say incredible, take a shot.
Yeah, you know what I realized at the beginning was how many times I said fantastic until you pointed it out.
Yeah.
I watched on the show. Not good. Not good to watch yourself on camera.
So, Brandon, as part of tonight's show, because it's going to be real classy, I have an incredible way for you to enjoy a cigar.
Get out.
I do. It is called the Trilogy. And why don't you, while I'm doing a Trilogy cut on this, why don't you explain why we're smoking an Atabey in the location we're in? You might tell them where it is because they probably think we're in Cabo or something.
That's a good point. So we are actually coming to you live from the Lord Byron room. That is in the back of the Atabey Private Lounge, which nestles itself comfortably in the Industrial Cigar Company Cigar Lounge, Frisco, Texas, far north Dallas, for those who do not know. As Pops is over here firing up and actually cutting an Atabey so I can get after it.
Yeah.
You'll notice it oozes class from what we're going through. We've got this blue just kicking off the back here. We've got Atabeys firing up, and these are the Atabey Mysticos.
Mysticos.
It is an Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper. It is a sensationally smooth cigar. It would be, get your shots ready, classified as an incredible cigar.
Yeah, and you'll notice that that's the second time the word incredible's been used, now third. I introduced this particular cutting method, the Trilogy, as an incredible method. Now, basically, some people in parts of Council Bluffs, Iowa, refer to it as the bowling ball cut.
Yes.
And
well, because it looks quite a bit like a bowling ball, you're going to pilot 3 different holes with this serrated little prison shank that is available for $34.99. It is a transformational way to smoke a cigar. It creates a cool smoke. For those who have watched before, you understand. For those who have smoked it before, you really understand. And this is
I wasn't going to use the Lord Byron ashtray, but I am going to light this with cedar because I know a lot of people out there are going, "Hey, I see cedar in my cigar boxes when I buy them. What in the Sam hell do I do with it?" So we're going to actually light with cedar.
Yep.
Tonight. So get a little piece of cedar. It looks a little something like this. And the first little tip is just take this, get this right down the middle, and just that kind of forms that little V or A or whatever direction you're holding it. And then at that point, we're going to take our fancy, notice we're going soft flame tonight, and we're going to throw this little bit of fire.
Classy.
We're going to get this going like this. And we got that flame going.
You want to hold that cedar at 45 degrees so that flame runs up. Otherwise, it goes out really fast. Toast the foot as you normally would. Then fire away.
So not only do you get an opportunity to pull that cedar into the cigar, first of all, the cigar is freaking amazing, but you just on first pull, but then just the glorious smell of burning cedar is just just smells so good.
Nothing says comfortable and be at home like a dumpster fire of cedar. It just warms. It is multi-use. It's incredible. So let's roll into it.
It triggers a great memory of when I was homeless.
Yeah, big homeless memory.
Big homeless.
So those who are in, we are going to talk about some of the stories that is really on fire. That's a fire.
As Eddie Murphy says, that's a fire.
That's right, Uncle Eddie. So we're going to run through some of our stories that we have and some of the big major takeaways. But then there are a few people that we're going to have as special guests we've shared experiences with that we know have incredible stories, really cool stuff. And I know you really birthed this idea, Pop. So I wanted to toss it over to you and see if you wanted to say good day at anybody who's watching.
Yeah, good day. We got Sean Ratz in the house. We have Rob Zarita's in the house. Tony Gallant is in the house, of course. Kathleen's not here. Dan is in the house. Chris is in the house. Frank the Tank is in the house. Megan Byers, the real Megan Byers, is in the house. So we've got a lot of just
you got to talk to them.
What I call homies to our venue. But we every week, as part of our exotic extreme planning process, which was about 25 minutes ago, we really tried to come up with the content. What do we want to cover? We want to get into countries of origin. We want to get into various things. And it really, we had a great meeting today, and a lot of it was wrapped around cigar lifestyle. And everybody has that memory or two. I have a couple that just really, really stick out.
That is fucking hot. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, there was a fire in there a minute ago.
I was trying to clean up the set.
Now it smells like burnt skin.
Yeah, my fingerprints.
But yeah, so, and if you guys, this is going to be a play along thing too.
If you have questions, ask them. Like, does it hurt to pick up a hot ashtray?
Yeah, lesson learned on the whole lighting your cigar with cedar.
So we're having a meeting today.
So we had this meeting, and we really started to really unveil the cigar lifestyle to some gentlemen that know about it, but they haven't been engulfed by it at this point. So it just got me thinking that there was, as we tell our story with ICC, it reminds us of some of the things, and one of the things that's so cool is these kind of our sub-brand here at ICC, and it reminds me of a time that was just one of those memories. When somebody says, you smoke cigars every day, what is one of those once-in-a-lifetime memories? And at this point, it was a morning with Brandon and I. Before the sun came up, we were in Cabo. We climbed what to me felt like frickin' Mount Everest, but I'm sure it was about a 600-foot mound in on the base of the ocean. But the sun was coming up, the whales were going full breach, and I was smoking actually a very mediocre Cuban cigar. But I remember just sitting there smoking it, and I'm sitting there with my son, and I remember saying, I've had a better cigar, but I've never had a cigar in a better place. And he immediately said, write that down. And we knew that we were going to open a cigar lounge one day, and that today is on our sacks. When you buy a bunch of cigars, you walk out with that sack, and that saying is on that box or on that bag. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things that we want ICC to be that. We want that experience to be, you may have had a better cigar, but you've never had a cigar in a better place. And now, as this culture has grown, a better place with better people. And
I think that's really the key element to it, is you look at it, and the first time someone walks in, because we had some new people walk into the shop today, and some people who really didn't understand the cigar culture. And what it was apparent was, you don't quite understand what it is until you're in it. And it's such a weird thing, because to us, it's our world. Mm-hmm. And so someone asks, why do people like cigars? Why do cigars and golf work so well together? And it's because it's for the same reason. It was the conversation was golf, you escape for 4 hours. Here, you escape for an hour. But importantly, you make those memories.
Right.
And even small memories that occur here in our lounge, mm-hmm. many things happen every day. And I saw it this weekend, and I saw when I was working on Saturday, and it was just dead full all the way through. And I just was able to stop. I looked back at the room, and I saw all of these pockets of people laughing, sharing bourbon, coming together, playing poker. Every area had this pocket of different memories of how many conversations are being had that are true conversations. To me, it was just the biggest high. I didn't want to leave. It was just incredible.
It was really, really cool. So here's where we're going to throw this out to you guys and let it be an interactive show. There's we got Burnett on here, or now known as Champ. Jake Powell, of course, I'm sure is talking about his balls at some particular way. But what is that one thing? Where was that point in time that you had a cigar, and now when you think about cigars or you light that cigar, it triggers that memory? What was that? We want to hear, and we want to share some of the cool stories that you guys have.
And I think importantly, let others tell. And I think this is a perfect segue to introduce to you guys. And if you haven't met him already, his name is Busy Bee. He has become just a tremendous, more than a friend. He really is somebody that we care for on a real, true family level. He is an incredible guy, and it's cool to see what the beginning of being a customer was, to see this engulfment of his life by cigars and the culture and what it's been. So I don't know if there's anything open here, if we can just open this up.
Well, you want to slide that out?
Come on in. Okay.
My son turns 21 in June, and the Atabey will be, our Atabey will be out of the ICC Humidor. And I've been collecting a starter kit with 2 or 3 of each of the cigars, so that's awesome. Digging the new setup, that's nice. For me, the epic was Turks and Caicos. This is Sean Ratz.
But didn't he smoke a really bad cigar there?
He did, and I mean, even though this is the internet, we still can't say what the cigar was because it is so just
Busy Bee. What's happening, brother?
What's going on, fellas? This is weird being on this side. I'm normally on that
He's
side.
normally on that side. The reason it all looks so cool and blue tonight because of this guy.
So talk to us about your cigar journey, but importantly, maybe a cigar memory that you will never forget.
So back home where we're all from, Omaha, Nebraska, we're all Cornhuskers here.
That's right.
Would always smoke cigars, especially with my boy Brian Johnson, who's watching tonight, and we would get together, but we were kind of playing at it, like just smoking because we thought it was cool, didn't know what the hell we were doing. We just found something that wasn't harsh and smoked it because we wanted to sit in the cigar lounge and look cool with the other fellas. But one thing it did do for us is we started talking about entrepreneurship. We started talking because when you get into an environment that you're not used to and you start picking up on different conversations, different outlooks, leveling up, the cigar actually was a conduit in changing our mindsets. So he went from working with people to now he has an investment company. I went from doing all the crap I've done in my life to moving to Dallas. Like all that became from what we did from a cigar. Then once I got here, first thing I looked for was a cigar lounge. Tripped in here by accident, was buying cigars, didn't know anybody. I would sit in the corner, blah, blah, blah. We recognized each other, and the rest is history. Became, found my second family here. And well, the first moment that's memorable with me, it had nothing to do with it. It was actually with my wife in Florida. She's like, ugh, them stinky, nasty things. I was like, just come have one with me. Just try it. We went to a little spot in Miami, sat down, and we talked like we never talked before. We were smoking a cigar. It was cool. Now, she was high as a kite after about 12 minutes. She doesn't remember anything else, but it was just that moment we had together was dope. But the biggest moment I had with a cigar was with you. A Partagas, what was it?
160.
160. We sat in your backyard in front of the flame. I was working at a job that I hated, and I was always bitching about it. And we sat down and we had a 3-hour conversation about life, goals, positions. We wrote some stuff down, and when I say my life literally changed after that cigar and that conversation, It's done nothing but up. That was the best memory with the cigar I can ever think of.
It's so cool, man. It's why I dig that. And this is basically them just looking at our conversation here, because when there are cycles of your life that you just have to reflect and then make changes on it. Mm-hmm. And it's always done for me with a cigar, but it's always even furthermore when Biz says, patio, let's smoke a stick, let's talk. It is, let's reevaluate where we are and call each other on our shit and push on it and just be real. There's this ability that this has to drop the ego down and just and talk. Yeah, but you're right. We smoked that 160.
Yeah, that was dope. That was, and you know, and now that I understand, for me coming here, the community of the lounge had me first. Then I learned about what my palate was, what I like to smoke. When I first got here, I was smoking the plantains, the black label Patoros.
Oh, Platinos.
Yeah, because I thought it was just the cool thing to do. And Pops was like, do you really know what you're smoking and why? I was like, nah, but heck, it costs some good money. And I thought I was good. He was like, stop. And he educated me, and I found out what my palate was, taught me how to retrohale, to really taste it. I mean, it was just so much education that now I appreciate a cigar for what the cigar is. It's more of, now I actually smoke cigars either here or at home for the enjoyment of what I like to taste versus just doing it because I thought it was cool.
What would you say is the most transformational thing that you've been taught or have learned rather naturally? Because you've seen it literally seed to
you guys went to Nicaragua together.
Yeah. What has been the most transformational moment where it's changed your outlook on cigars?
I think every time if I try a new cigar, the first time you take a draw after you lit it and it ignites everything, and you can really honestly taste the difference from one blend to another. So you actually see that every stick is different. It's just not all the same. It's not all the whatever. This is going to be different from that. That's different from this. And they give you a different experience. You may be in a certain mood. Like if you ever approach a cigar, you always go in the humidor and say, what am I in the mood for today? It's kind of like going to a buffet. Like, what do I want today? Do I want something spicy, something mild, something cool, something to kick it, something. I've even learned now, one thing Pop told me is to ease off my palate. Sometimes you got to give it a break. I like full body, more flavorful cigars, so some days I need something really chill and mild to let everything kind of calm down and give it a break. So there's an art to it. I really truly think there's an art and a technique to it, but that's like anything you do. You understand it. That's why, you know, I've kind of become a cigar snob because certain things, like my son, he likes really, really mild, I call them candy ass cigars. I'm like, when you become a man, let me know and I'll get you something for real. And he's like, what's happening to you? You snobbish ass? Nah, it's just what I've learned, you know, and what I've learned to enjoy. So I don't try to, it's hard not to be judgmental when I watch people smoke certain things, or if I go somewhere that's not here, yeah, that's hard. That's really, really
you know, it's cool to observe this, and I think that, to your point earlier, Brandon, when Saturday you looked out at a full shop and saw all these conversations happening, we're getting a chance to eavesdrop on what happens or what should be happening in a cigar lounge. And, you know, there's a thing that struck me. You know, if you got a dude and you're at a bar and you're working it, if you got a drink in your hand, the odds that you're telling the truth is slim to none. But I found that whenever I sit down with somebody with a cigar, it like knocks down the veil, and you just get to be who you are, and the truth comes out, totally and the person comes out who you are. It's a real interesting dynamic, but it is cool to see and to be able to eavesdrop in on different conversations to see what people are doing about cigars. And we talked about it today. You know, when somebody sits down in here, what do they say?
What you smoking?
What you smoking? And that starts that conversation out that takes you to where we're at right now, talking about some of these things that have happened or places you've done that you've had a cigar that sticks in your mind. Because we have them every day. So it's harder for us to have that memory, but they stick in your head, and it's just, there's those times you just don't forget it.
Yep.
I know when I went to the Habanos Festival in Cuba, and I was with Oliver from Atabay and Nelson Alfonso, the owner of Atabay, there were times where I'm sitting down in like Nelson's backyard and I'm smoking Atabase from his personal humidor and I'm drinking a Cuban coffee in Cuba. How many times I'm holding this going, is this really happening? I mean, this is happening, you know, and that when you can have those experiences, particularly when you have this passion for cigars and it's the cigar that's creating the excitement and the enjoyment. I mean, it is, and I know a lot of people, they have cigars when their kids are born and things like that, but there are so many different things that this wraps around. I never hear anybody going, man, my son was just born. Let's go outside and have a cigarette. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah,
you know?
You're right.
Well, there's no Facebook pages on, you know, how to enjoy a cigarette. You know,
What's shocking to me is how many people actually are into cigars. I had a guy come put a electrician. He came by and he had to replace a couple of circuit breakers. And he went by my office and he seen all this stuff. And he walked in and he seen the humidor and then he seen my bar. And he looked at me and he said, yo man, what sticks do you smoke? I said, how'd you know? He said, you got this, and this on the bar. You have to smoke. I said, yeah, blah, blah. We got huge conversation where he ended up, he's the 5th person to come by my house to do something and they left with sticks. He smoked them, my new barber. He loves cigars, so when I got a cut last weekend, I took him some cigars. Boom, here you go. Got just like literally, guys came by and do in my yard, and I was in the back patio. They're like, "Oh, you smoke?" I smoke. I was like, "Okay." Bam! Like I just shared. It is crazy how many people love sticks.
And I feel like it is growing, and I think it's something that once you experience it once, you can really enjoy and relax. And I always say it. There may be a certain number of cigar smokers currently, but there are so many cigar smokers out there that just haven't had their first cigar yet. And it's a responsibility of us to be able to identify the type of people that would be the type of guy you want to sit and have a cigar with, or gal to sit and smoke a cigar with.
Well, that's how you get to meet people that you normally would not either talk to or meet, not just because you're all standards, but you sit down and you start, hey, how you doing? Like, I've never seen the level of interaction like I do here at the lounge when people walk in for the first time, and by the time they leave, people have exchanged phone numbers. You find out what they do. I mean, just so many different things that this actually puts together.
Yeah. There was, unfortunately, I just lost power, so I'm going to reboot. But there was a great comment, and I apologize. I'll find out who it is so I can give you a shout out. But actually, he had two great memories. One was with La Aurora, that he would smoke with out by the fire with his core group of buddies. But now his buddies have kind of all scattered. But every time he goes back and smokes that cigar, it kind of brings him back to that time. And the second one was with a Jacob's Ladder, where he was sitting with his son. His son was going through a tough time, and he talked about how when his son was at college, he went to college, drug him to a lounge, lit up the Jacob's Ladder, and they, kind of worked through some of those things. So there's, I think that from a parenting perspective, I mean, most of my great memories with cigars is with my kids, and I think it's, probably in my top 3 was the time we had cigars, and that was the hot tub.
Yeah.
And, that was, the kids all came down. They were all in college. The kids came down. If you've seen our YouTube, you've seen this story before, but I came out. The kids were they're adults. They're going to college. But as I came out, all 3 of the boys were in the hot tub. They're drinking a beer and they're smoking a cigar. But as I walked out, they were hiding the cigar off to the side so that I didn't see them, and they thought they were going to get in trouble, right? So I smelled the cigars. I went back in the house. I grabbed 4 Cubans. I came back out and just basically said, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. Let them cut the cigars. I explained cutting and toasting the foot. Of course, they're looking at me like idiots because they've been smoking cigars this whole time. But it was that thing. I sent them off to college as kids. Now they're adults, and as a parent, how am I going to be an adult or parent to adults? And this was this thing we did together, and it didn't take long before we really realized that this is something we need to do together. Yep. And this was that was one of those times that just was really I'll never ever forget it.
This is cool. We've got Sean Ratz. He dropped a deal. It said, had a customer come into the garage, his garage, because he was working on somebody's Porsche 928.
Right.
Saw that there were a couple boxes sitting in there. Next thing you know, it's me, and it's him and I are talking about cigars every time, and now he's a regular and a member here at Industrial. It's a cool world that we live in.
I'm gonna go get another memory for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go grab Big
Yeah.
Jake.
Thank you so much, Biz.
Oh,
I
man.
appreciate the hell out of you. If you are watching on Facebook on our Industrial Cigar Company page, give this a share. A lot of people need to see what the power is. If you're watching it on Cigar Newbies, welcome in. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Let us know what your favorite memory is. And I'd love to actually do a more produced, deeper version of this. So if you want to be a part of it, to experience, let us know. Reach out to us, and we'll do a whole production day. So that way, it's we could help you tell your story. And
it was Steve Alexander. So
yep,
that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh no, he said, hell, I'm not even talking about Brad. Another guy came in, and we regularly enjoy sticks together. Oh, that's cool as hell. Okay, so it's another guy that.
Nice. So he's cheating on you, is what he's saying.
Well, not only that, but it's working out great because he's made him a regular here at ICC's. I have a feeling that's the same guy. Oh, yeah. That's super cool. Yeah, cigars they just have great reach and ability. We appreciate you guys spending your Tuesday evening with us. Hopefully you're smoking a cigar.
And we promise that some of the guests that come in will actually go to getting bigger and bigger.
Well, the next one is going to be much bigger.
Much bigger.
Than all of us and the chair. And then the next one after that is going to be much smaller. So
much smaller.
The next one is a really interesting guy, and we'll see when he's coming in. But his story is a pretty touching, pretty cool story. Mm-hmm. Just to give you a backstory, as he's coming in, he's a gentleman that is as big as a house, played in the NFL for 10 years.
Yep. Left tackle, won the Super Bowl at Pittsburgh. No one was ever sacked over his shoulder?
Never. And then he also was a part of the whichever year was the last one that the Texas Longhorns won the national championship.
Yeah, 06, he was the left tackle and made it so Vince Young could run into the end zone and score that touchdown to go ahead, and they ended up winning the Rose Bowl.
Yep. It's Rob. What's happening? Hey, Megan. We've got Robert Perry is in. Good evening, everyone who's just joining us. We're walking through Cigars 101, cigar memories we're sharing, and then how to create some memories. And it's a pretty simple operation. And what I've noticed, and it's a really key point of it, is you have a lot of people who are cigar smokers and a lot of people who are cigar smokers that haven't had their first yet. It gives you an opportunity, if you've smoked cigars once or 1,000 times, to grab your friends that are the closest and introduce them. And introduce them with a good conversation. You'll get to know them deeper than you've ever known.
And that's the thing, is it just kind of knocks some of the walls down that I think it's because in the end, we've said it 100 times that the cigar is the great equalizer, but it has a tendency to knock down those walls that maybe you kind of have your guard up. Being a little bit more protective of what you say or what you do, but now it's one of those things where you just knock the veil down, and you can have those great conversations.
If you guys have great experiences that you want to share them, if you have any questions about just cigar etiquette, cigar knowledge, anything that you maybe haven't had answers to, if you walk into a humidor and to be overwhelmed, it's understandable. Feel free to ask those questions. That's what we're here for. As we're waiting for someone to roll in here, we'll take a look, and here he comes.
I see the shadow.
I can see the shadow.
The shadow.
He is.
The light is now missing.
He's the biggest person I've ever seen.
Come on in, Jay Scott.
Come on in. So.
What's going on, Jim?
Oh, nice. He rolls in. All right. So we have the smallest chair in the building for your ass. Yeah, but we're rolling live.
Oh, yeah. We're live as shit.
Okay. So, I know how to do it.
What are you going to do? Pick up that barrel and see how far you can throw it?
No, we just move the chair.
Oh, he's just all right. So he's sliding over. So J. Scott is getting. I think he's lifting a table from the private lounge to bring in here to sit on it, because that's the only thing big enough for him. So you can sit in this chair.
This chair is for you.
Oh, he can't sit in it. It's too small.
All right. He can't sit in it because the chair is too small. There's a young lady named Colette Williams that's watching now. So, FYI, watch.
No worries.
Oh, all right. J. Scott, come on in. Take a seat, my friend.
All right, people.
Oh man, let's make sure this camera's wide enough to pick you up.
My shoulders.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
What's happening?
At greatness. 2021 about to be amazing. So,
Well, there's no place but up.
no place but up. Yeah.
So we've introed you a little bit. You were speaking with Facebook on the Industrial Cigar Company on YouTube, as well as our Cigar Newbies page.
Basically, almost the entire internet's watching. Right
Basically
now.
all.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, greetings, people. How are you doing this great evening?
Man.
And people across the world, good morning.
Yeah, that's right. Or good day, mate.
That is all multicultural. That picks up every single country ever.
Good day, mate covers almost 90% of the continents in the world.
So at the beginning of opening the Cigar Lounge, I had the pleasure of meeting Jonathan Scott right away, coming in looking for feral flying pigs.
Oh, yeah. Right,
And
right.
which thankfully we had. And past that point, once we developed a deeper relationship, you told me about your most memorable and maybe your first cigar experience.
Oh, yeah.
It is one of the coolest things I've ever heard. I don't know if will you just tell them what your story is there?
Yeah, no, it's so as you know, I went to the University of Texas, graduated from the University of Texas. Go Longhorns! Had to give a little shout out. But when I was there at Texas, I was there from 2001 to 2005, and so I definitely had the pleasure of playing for the national championship team. As you've probably seen on television, 30 for 30 situation where, the final game, final play, biggest game in college football history. And so, well, to kind of preface that, my father, he's passed away now, but he's a very infamous, just kind of like the bond you guys have. Me and my dad had that exact same bond. And, he was always proud of me and always wishing and inspiring me to do great things. And so he was really strategic in, my career, professional sports, as well as playing at Texas. And so after the game, of course we're staying in Beverly Hills. I can't remember the hotel, but hotel in Beverly Hills. And after the game, we won. Everybody's excited, just like anything else.
And this is national championship, riding on the high.
Yep.
Beat USC.
Yep.
So every Californian hates your ass right now.
Oh yeah, I can't. I'm not even welcome in California at all. So after we won the game, Dad was super. And he said, "My dad is. If you ever got to meet my dad, imagine he's taller than me and has a certain type of bravado in his voice that he commands respect in the room, but not boastfully, right? So he's like, son, yeah, so, I'm so proud of you, and you're just doing great things. You're doing everything I asked, and just sit down with me. And we're in the hotel lobby, right? And so we're in the hotel lobby, and we all know restrictions when it comes to California. They're a little different from Texas, right? The state of Texas, right? So at this point, he says, so at that point, I'm like, it's cool. It's I'll sit down. And so we sat down in the lobby, and we just kind of just like taking it all in, right? And so he said, something I just want to do, right? So he has on his blazer, and he pulls out two cigars, two Cohibas. Now at that time, I'm not very versed in cigars, so I'm just like, ooh. So when you think cigars, you think distinguished, you think most distinguishable man in the world type of thing.
You
right?
think I just won a national championship?
Yeah, right.
Smoke a cigar.
So it kind of when name escapes me, quarterback for LSU when he won the national championship last, and when he was smoking a cigar and he was just relaxing, he was in that moment. I knew exactly where he was, right? So anyway, so he pulls out the cigars, and at the moment, he pulls them out and he pulls out this beautiful lighter. I mean, beautiful cutter. I've never seen it in my life. Found out later it was a ST DuPont.
Right. Okay.
Right? And so he pulls it out, cuts them. He just cuts them right there on the table. I'm like, okay. And then he said, "Oh, hold that thought." He gets the waitress to get us Macallan. So all I knew was, can we talk?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah. No. We're
that was the good shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, that's the good stuff. I always know that's sitting at the way at the top and nobody can have it. Uncles can't have
They
it.
need a ladder to get that shit.
Yeah. So they get some Macallan, and it's it's done neat and everything. He sits the glasses there, and he starts to get the cigar and starts roasting it, right? And he gives me the cigar and lights it, goes through the whole process, and then I just sit back, and we puffing on this cigar, and it was just that moment where I was like, damn, my dad accepts me as a man. And I tell you, that moment that we had, we were smoking a Cohiba. I don't know if it was domesticated or not, but we were smoking a Cohiba in the middle of the lobby. I mean, the front desk is maybe 20 yards away from us.
Right.
In the lobby, and nobody said a word to us. And we're sitting there at the just height of my life, and I'm getting to smoke a cigar with my dad, and I was just like, this is some cool shit. It was just super cool. And with that, just having that experience, I can definitely say I appreciate being a member here at Industrial, is that you guys do a great job of just creating that experience. I think that's what's kind of missing in today's culture, is being ego driven and like I'm smoking a cigar like I'm Rick Ross and Big Boss, but it's more about enjoying that experience, that nap. You putting your past and your worries to the side, and you're just having that experience. And y'all do just a great job of bringing that to life. And so that's what just Industrial is, just bringing that experience. That's something that I love being a part of, is that recreating that experience. Now, with all that being said, I think it's real important that there is, as you kind of always say, it's the cigar is the equalizer, and you find out that we're all the same. We have different issues in life, different ambitions and goals in life, and it's so cool to just see how this tobacco, this piece of earth, can bring all those things in perspective.
And it's connections, how it creates people that if you're having hard times, it's amazing that how a great cigar culture and lifestyle will embrace that and want to help you or give you that venue when things are going right. And I've watched you grow over the last 3 years into conversations that were very hypothetical. They're now happening, and never, as long as I've known you, and I've known you before the shop, but never did I ever doubt that it wasn't going to get done. There are a handful of people out there that when they say, I'm climbing that mountain, the next time you see them, they're at the top. And Jay Scott is one of those guys, and has been, I always have to pull him in whenever somebody new comes into the shop, because he was new one time coming into the shop. Yeah. And it was just, it's been cool. It's been cool to, I'll never take the place of your dad, but I'll sit in that seat and I'll smoke a cigar with you whenever you want.
Yeah, and then the cool thing I have to say I really do appreciate is literally what you're smoking now is the first stick that I had. You know what? Let me back up. to that point, it was like speaking affirmation and speaking things into existence. I remember, and I don't know if this is off script.
No,
we don't have a script. The day we have a script, the day this show is over.
Right. But I really did appreciate. I remember we met at a cigar lounge.
Yep.
We'll keep it a different cigar lounge in the area, and I was just coming in periodically, and I ran into you, and this is when I was like, I like this guy. He was like, hey, what you smoking? Just having a very simple, kind of casual, surface level conversation. And he gave me my stick to where it opened my palate was the Casa Cuban.
Yep, that's right.
And I was like, damn, this is good. I was like, I didn't even know this existed, right? So at that point, I come back another time at that same lounge and see him again. And he gives me another one. It's the what was it, the Yellow Rose? Yellow Rose. And I was like, damn, every time he's on point. So now he's my go-to. He's my distro. I'm like, every stick that I have to have, it has to come from this man, right? Yeah. And then with that equalizer, if you will, of that cigar, he would start, going into his aspirations and his manifestations and talking about this concept he was going to do. And so just like anybody, he was just like, yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
And so
sounds too good to be true.
Like, because it sounded like into numerous shops across, the country.
Right.
Nothing compares, right? And so we fast forward maybe a year, maybe even two. I don't have any contact information, and he was talking about the existence of this, which wasn't even there. And so one of my good business partners and buddies said, hey, man, I know you like cigars. You need to try out this place called Industrial. I don't know, but you got to check it out. It's right where you live, near where you live. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to stop by. I stopped in, and I meet Brandon, right? And so I'm like, okay. Hey, he looks familiar, but I don't know. Because I never met you, and I was just like, interesting, right? Then I come in, and then all of a sudden, this guy walks in, and I'm staring, and I'm looking. I said, hey, oh shit, this is what you were talking about. I was like, oh man. And if you haven't been to Industrial, you have to come. Really check it out. And the thing that me being a former offensive lineman, you have to pay attention to detail, and there's so many little details that they've integrated into Industrial to not just be a lounge, but a place that you can be proud to say, this is my home,
Right.
You can tell the difference between ownership and rentership.
Yeah.
That's a word, right? But
yeah.
But at the end of the day, you can just see it.
Well, I think ultimately, the thing that I see when you're talking about that ownership is the ownership of your experience. And one thing that I saw with you that, as just pulling the veil aside, to see something that we love more than anything we actually spoke about was you came in, you started smoking, you made your way in, you became a member all the way through. But then watching as you smoke a cigar, there were a couple of times when we walked in where you were sitting engulfed in this.
Nobody gets in a bubble like this.
No, just this like, I taste this, I taste that. And it was all this firing, and you can expect to experience that if you really get into cigars, is if you get into it, you understand what story it's trying to tell you. All of a sudden, it's like getting into a good book where you're just hook, line, and sink, or you're sold, and you just love it. And holy shit, I can't believe this actually happens. You go through that. Yeah, I smoke cigars. To those are some good cigars, and that's possible.
Oh, whoa.
This is a different thing, and you really see that.
So two of my favorite J. Scott moments. One was he was talking about, to Brandon's point out, man, he's got his eyes closed. He's concentrating on all this stuff. He's got it all going on. Well, this particular night there was a couple there, and I'm guaranteeing you that if they were married for 20 years, the husband has gotten 3 words in edgewise.
Right.
This woman, purple hair, middle-aged, did not shut up. She just blah, 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 blah. Nicest lady,
Right.
but he had just got a brand new Byron, and he sat down, and she's sitting across from him, and he's trying to do it, and she will not shut up. And he just finally just goes, "Ma'am, I need you to be quiet." It goes back to smoking. This is story number one. Number two ties to this, and Jay Scott and I decide we have Ames chairs. We got our feet up on the chairs. I just came from work, so I got all my dress clothes on, and me and John we're sitting here smoking a Byron, and it's just like, I'm getting mint. No, I'm getting blueberry. Oh, you know what? On that puff, I got, and it was the most esoteric, detailed. Oh no, you know what? I got a smidgen of like graham cracker, but like I had one piece of cinnamon on it. I mean, and we're like, so I'm taking a sip. I'm like, man, well, he just takes a mouthful of fucking, of Dr. Pepper, and I'm going, but man, this pairs well with Diet Dr. Pepper, and it hit him in just a way that he just spits it all over my legs, all over. I mean, everywhere. So that was one of my favorite cigar moments, was being completely spit on by Jay Scott because it was so ridiculous what I said. We're in it so deep that it's just like, oh man, this is good with Diet Dr. Pepper, and it was just like, that is the stupidest thing.
It was so fun, and then of course we got an ongoing joke, man. It's like, hey man, you know that goes well with Dr. Pepper. And so if you ever hear that line, make sure you don't have a mouthful of something in your mouth, because you're gonna spit it all out. So
that's it, man.
really
Jay Scott, you're an absolute blessing to what we do. You are the perfect essence, the perfect representative of the Cigar Quickly, the ICC family. You are just I cannot say enough good things. I appreciate the hell out of it.
Oh, man, my pleasure, man. And it goes the same for you guys too. Y'all have always been welcoming. You do everything at a high level, and excellence is just what's inbred into the culture as well as the company. So I appreciate you guys both.
Likewise.
Thank you.
you so much.
Appreciate you.
Give it up for
Give it
Jonathan
up.
Scott.
Those applause on the internet.
Yeah, big old thumbs up for Jay Scott. Thank you so much.
Smoke well, my friends.
That's right.
I think Ty's gonna take a.
Would you send Demery in here real quick?
Been enthralled by the conversation. Have had nothing. Yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying this little bit different change of pace as we do.
You know, we're hanging out in the cigar lounge tonight, and we're just having a conversation. But we talk so much about this and what makes it, and how you create it, and all the leaves, and all the different growing regions and different vitolas. We talk about this so much that we forget sometimes that this is just the tool to do this, and I feel sorry for those of you that are outside of this area that maybe don't get an opportunity to come into the shop, that unfortunately do not have this culture and this environment. And
another guy who's rolling in here, and you want to talk about family. We've been blessed to do two already, but this is when we look at it, we look back at what. Actually, I want to bring this in a little bit because I'll hang on. But one of my favorite cigar memories of ICC was before ICC was anything, and this is Tyrone Demery, Ty. What's happening, Ty?
My people, how y'all doing?
Good. Oh, so
How y'all doing, baby?
Who you're
do
talking
you see
to?
the resemblance? We're actually brothers.
No, you guys are wearing different shirts.
I'm the pretty one.
Yeah, I'm the dancer. He's the singer.
No, I'm the dancer. You're the
no,
singer.
you can't sing.
Okay. all
So who you're speaking to is our Facebook group, Cigar Newbies, Industrial Cigar Company Facebook, as well as our YouTube. So this is, for those who don't know Ty is probably relationship number one.
Yep,
right. My man.
that's it.
My man.
That's it.
He
Now, we met Ty at another place a long time ago. We go back at least 7 years now, something like that. And unfortunately, that particular day, that was around the time that there was a Super Bowl in Dallas, and we had an ice storm.
Well, hold up. You got to tell that story.
I gotta tell.
You got to tell that story.
It really just makes a point. But I walked into the shop, and Ty sitting there up against the wall still looked a little confused, and I sat down with him, and we introduced ourselves, and we're having a conversation. We're smoking a cigar together, and he informs me that he actually walked out into his driveway that day, fell on ice, and hit his head. So the moral of the story is I've never known Ty pre-brain damage. So all I know is the one that we got right now.
The one we got.
Yeah, but he's okay. He's okay. But
You had to do it, didn't you?
You
had to.
That's what brothers do.
Hey.
All right, so from a Thai perspective, and I'll hold off for a second, but what I'm curious, because we've lived a lot of life together. You and Pops are as close as anyone I've
Yes.
ever seen him with.
Yes, sir.
What are maybe from your cigar experience? Is there a memory that you can conjure that really is your favorite, or a memory that you have of the cigar culture, and just your favorite cigar story that has a cigar?
I'm going to tell you, and me and Dave talked about this. We go on cruises all the time. And it's in the Bahamas, on island. So the ladies, our wives, beautiful wives, they sat on the beach. And
300 yards, 400
and
yards
they
away.
set up their towels and cabanas and whatever. And we said, hey man, let's go search the island. And I call it Gilligan's Island. Because it's not
We couldn't
shit
find
there.
Mary Ann, by the way.
Once you pass through what,
as
far as all the stuff they do for the tourists, it's just an island. And we just kept walking and smoking cigars. I can't remember what I was smoking, but it was a good cigar.
It was Crux Gill.
Crux Hill. And we went and we found a spot where nobody was at. And sat on some rocks. The ocean is crashing in. We look out. Our ship is way out there.
Yep.
And I looked at Dave and I said, I think we have a Bluetooth or something?
No, we're just listening to the phone.
Yeah. We were listening to music.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is what life is all about right here.
Yep.
We just sat there, and for a while we didn't even talk.
Yeah.
We just watched the ocean come in and go out. And then we said, well, shit, let's go investigate the water. It was like, and we did for like, what did we get, like maybe 10 yards in?
Yeah, there was
And
a bunch
then-
of jagged rocks. We're
And
like, let's go
jagged
back up
rocks
there.
and shit, and jellyfish all over. And I'm like, just think if we were stranded here, we would have to eat these damn jellyfish.
That's cigar just let you unlock that level of consciousness to see the perspective.
But we're in the water with our cigars, just walking around, and we're looking at the stuff, and it was epic. I mean, it was a situation where we had been on the boat smoking the whole time in the Churchill Lounge and stuff, but that day it was perfect weather, and
Everything was
the tide was coming in, and we were there by ourselves, and it was just like, man. It was a brotherhood moment.
It was.
Lock in with somebody, and you're on the exact same wavelength.
Yes.
You're just just riding that tide of life.
Yes. It was like we wasn't even talking for a while. And I just looked over and said, I love you, brother.
Yeah. You guys are rainbow flag away from a gay cruise. What kind of cruises you guys go on?
But here's the thing. Well, we saw that cruise ship. Remember that one pulled into port, and it had a lot of rainbow flags on it, so we won't go there. But later that day, Ty is he was a fireman for 32 years, and I always give him
33.
33 years.
Don't
Well,
don't
he worked,
shortchange me.
he worked 27, but he was there for 33 on the
16.
payroll.
16.
But one of the things, he's a retired fireman from the Dallas Fire Department, and one of the things that I appreciate so much about Ty at it is the fact that every day he was dealing with somebody that was having the worst day of their life.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
and somebody was dying, or they were in a fire, or whatever the case may be, and he had to deal with that. Never had the opportunity to go to somebody and they're going, man, I'm so happy today.
I'm happy you're here.
I'm happy you're here. Exactly. But
So how did you? My question is, did cigars play a role in your, we'll call it your sanity, as you were going through the fire department?
because
Or did
you've always said that firemen deal with what you see on a daily basis in different ways.
Yes.
A lot of guys get into the
Yes.
bottle, or they get into drugs,
Yes.
or was cigars that thing that you could kind of escape to?
Cigars was my thing because I actually started going to another shop, and that's where I met you guys. And I needed an outlet because my wife was like, "You're an asshole. You need to go somewhere and get out of the house." I would see all this stuff all for 24 hours. We worked 24 hours. I would see all this stuff, and believe me, people, it's real. 911 that you see on TV, not real, but you see some real stuff out there, and you have to find a way to get that out of your mind.
Yeah.
And when I would come up to the cigar lounge and talk to you guys, or other people that was in the lounge, we talk about sports and different things, and it was a way of me unwinding from what I was dealing with, and it helped me. It helped me.
Yeah.
And I think now this is a third person that's come up and mentioned this, so I think it's only appropriate to mention this because we always focus on providing the finest cigar experience. We want the lounge to be the cleanest it can be. We want to be the best lounge experience possible.
You are the best
But thank you for saying
that
that.
I've been to.
But when it comes down to it, this lounge we continuously talk about, it's in Fuego. It's in Frisco. And it is a competitor of ours, but we've established incredible relationships. Now, in my opinion, it offers something different than what we do. I think we strive for something a little bit different, but it is appropriate to say it doesn't matter necessarily the lounge you're in because the people make up the lounge.
Right.
And we met, and we really met there. We met with some of our closest friends there. So we have a massive appreciation for what walking through those doors has done for us.
Yes.
And it's allowed us to
But
catapult
it also
to where
shows
we're going.
that you for the culture to work, you got to engage in the culture.
Yes.
Because I've been in shops that it's like sitting in the waiting room in a
Right.
dentist's office. They're just nobody talks to anybody. There's no
Exactly.
engagement. They're going through the utility of smoking the cigar
Yeah.
instead of
And-
letting this be that comment that everything revolves.
And I think
Yes.
that's the point to make is if you find yourself in a lounge where people are not open, people are not communicating, you try the conversation, what you smoking, and it goes nowhere. Find a different place.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There are too many great relationships just waiting to be had. Like,
Exactly.
this is one.
Exactly.
And from when I look back at my life, and I know many years from now, when I look back at my life, I know right now, this is the best time of my life.
Yeah.
Like, right now, in this
Yes.
exact moment, everyone is watching the best time of my life right now.
I wish
Period.
I would have had this 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's something that I'm blessed that I only have the responsibility to do 100% the best I can for everyone that's around.
Yes.
And I look back at some of the experiences of what ICC was before ICC was there.
Yes.
After lounges decided they didn't want their competition in the lounge, so they all decided, that's not a family we want in this
Right.
place. So we moved it to the backyard.
Yes.
And some of my most nostalgic moments, I think, will come we had your birthday party one year
Yeah.
Yes.
where it went into the evening. We had many guests in and out. One night we had a broken foot, a few Ubers,
Broke his shoulder.
Broken shoulder. Oh, I broke his collarbone or
Yes,
something like
collarbone.
that. Yeah,
Yes.
something-
Yeah.
broken. I forgot
And
about
Maurice
that.
almost danced himself into the pool.
But he did break his foot. So I think we were doing some Krob stuff. I think I
Yeah.
tore
Yes,
his
John
labrum.
McClane.
Yes.
Tore his labrum, broken many Ubers, and we
Right.
had to talk some people out.
Right.
To me, that was ICC before it occurred.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
And that is just, I'll never forget that.
But it was all family, and I remember, for lack of a better deal, when we basically all got kicked out of that other place that shall remain unnamed, and we went to another place, basically got kicked out of there,
Yep.
and we said, well, Dave, let's just go to the backyard
Yeah.
and do our thing.
Yeah.
And we did our thing, and the personalities were so good that we had our own little makeshift cigar lounge in the backyard of Dave's house.
Open 7 days a week.
It was.
Yeah.
Yes. And people were coming over, and we had a great time. And then you guys had the brilliant idea to do this, and it's been awesome.
And I think one of the things that you've always said is we replicated the backyard here.
We did.
And that to me is so cool because that's where so many of the great memories came from.
But you want to know the response that I wish I could just hear on that? You said, we did it right. And Ty said, we did.
Yes.
Right.
It is.
I always felt like I was part of it. Even
Yeah.
though this was something you guys had before I even knew you guys.
Yeah,
But y'all make everybody feel like, and that's what makes it different than anywhere else. When you feel like you're at home. Oh, just this past weekend, the new guy came in from LA.
Yep, Clark Griffith.
And we talked to him for a minute, and he was like, man, I'm from California.
Also from New York.
And New York.
New York, yeah.
And I've never been in a situation where people just talk to me and just are so friendly. And he said, I'm going to get...
And what's crazy is he's a member of the Grand Havana Club in Los Angeles, which is one of the world's most renowned clubs. But his experience here
Yes.
was completely
Because
different.
of Ty and Kayla.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he talked to us for a while, and we shared a drink or two together, and we talked about all the events that go on here, and he was like, I'm going to get a membership. And I said, yeah, what are you waiting on? And he went to, I think it was either you or he said, I need a membership. And I said, you'll never regret it. And he told me, he said, man, you gave me some tequila, and I'm going to bring some tequila in just for you.
And
But that's what y'all do.
Yeah, well,
y'all
that's
bring people together that may not have ever even been in the same situation where they talk to each other. Mm-hmm. And that's what he was like. He's a banker. I'm a fireman, retired fireman. Mm-hmm. I probably wouldn't have talked to this dude unless he was wrecked his car or some shit.
Yeah.
Right?
But we were talking just back and forth, and he's like, man, I like this place. I like you two, and I'm going to get a membership. Mm-hmm. And it was cool.
It's people. We're absolutely in the people business.
Yeah.
And it's how weird is it that you take a seed, you grow it to a plant, you dry it out, you ferment it, you roll it, you put it into this shape, and then all of a sudden it creates
Yes.
this.
Yes,
I don't understand. I
Yes.
still don't quite grasp how that's possible.
Mm-hmm. People sit down and they smoke this.
Mm-hmm.
It's time. Because it's not a cigarette where you just suck it down. It's a cigar that you have time to talk. And if you're willing to talk with other people, not that we have a lot of stuff in common.
Especially in this time.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because you smoke a cigar for what it does to you, but when you're smoking or a cigarette, it does something to you. It creates that addiction. You got to have another, whatever the case may be. When you light the cigar, what it does is it brings the room together.
Yes.
Cigarettes separate the room. You have to go someplace else.
Exactly.
But a cigar it's a different experience every time. I'll close it out with one of my favorite Thai stories. Every once in a while, Thai is known to tip a drink or two, and I mentioned that he was a great fireman, but he's also a hell of a salesman. He sold this little Russian chick on the ship that was waiting on him no, it's okay, you can pour me doubles. And we're on a cruise, and the downside of a cruise ship, no matter how fancy the cruise ship is every door to every cabin looks the same. And Ty, he was on the 11th floor, but he got off at 4 o'clock in the morning after we smoked cigars for about 8 hours, and he was drinking doubles all night. He got off on the wrong floor.
Hey, by the way, she loved me. She loved me.
she did. But the next morning, to find out that Ty learned that there was a fitness center at one end of the boat,
which I didn't go to,
and learned that there's smoking on the very back of the boat, and a whole bunch of floors in between. You met a lot of nice maids in the hallway trying to find your room.
I did.
And hours later, you finally stumbled into the door that had your name on it.
Yes. Yes.
And just a classic.
My wife didn't really like that.
No, it wasn't. We were actually smoking cigars on the cruise ship when my lovely wife, and just for the record, I love her very much, but that particular moment, I could have thrown her over when she said that she entered you and I into the dance contest.
Oh my God. We should have won.
And she was like, "You're up."
Oh my God.
And we had to do it the sexiest dance we could on the pool.
We need to post that video
Oh
up
my
for everyone.
God.
Oh my, dude, is there video of that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You were dancing on that old lady.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, you danced on the old lady when you got out of the pool.
Oh, yeah.
Shaking your shit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. She said I should have won.
Oh,
well,
no
everybody
doubt.
thought we should have won, but
Yes.
it was rigged.
Oh yeah, it was rigged.
But that was another time where Cigar was interrupted to do something stupid.
Yes. Exactly. We were like, what? Y'all are up.
You're up next.
Like, Dave Frakes.
Oh shit!
Well,
God, that was not good. But that, I mean, we were
It took me for my legs to get back together after that.
days. Shit, I cramped up that night. My legs were
Oh
all
my
cramped
God.
up. That's a lot of exercise.
It was hard.
It was.
I was doing the Q stomp.
Just so you guys.
I'm just glad you and I never did Soul Train because our legs would never recoup.
Trust me, Soul Train was about twice as long of a dance floor than what you guys had to dance. Jesus.
Oh
We
my
were
God.
by the pool though. I mean, we could have drowned.
It was 100 degrees out there.
It was something.
Oh,
I know it was
horrible.
something.
It was horrible.
It's so I think for those who are joining in, and we just want to say thank you for your time on Tuesday evening. This show is as much for us as it is for you guys, as basically everything we do, because we just we need that moment to look back and reflect and see what we're doing and the power of what we're doing. It's easy for us to get sucked into making sure we're set up and everything is running operationally smooth for you guys, but this has been just such an awesome way to stop and reflect. We need to do it more, and that for just a newbie that's watching, what would you say, what would you recommend for somebody who's just watching, maybe they're thinking about smoking, maybe they just got into it, what would you tell them?
Man, that's a good question. And I've always said this from the first time that you guys opened up this place. This is my sanctuary. Mm-hmm. And I think if you can get into cigars and find a good group of people that are like-minded like you, and it is just like going to this might be a stretch, but it's just like going to church. Mm-hmm. This is the church of cigars.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you get in there and people, you just feel the energy, and it's positive energy. And that's what you want when you've had a hard day at work or at home or whatever. And it's always been my sanctuary. And from the time I started coming here, or the time I started meeting you guys, and this stick right here is like, it brings so many different people from so many different lifestyles together. And that's what I like about this whole situation.
Yep.
Because there are people that I probably would have never met in my life in here.
Oh, we wouldn't have met you.
No.
We wouldn't have met.
I wouldn't have met him.
Well, just look at it this way. In a direct comparison, in Nebraska, we smoke cigars by ourselves.
Right.
By ourselves.
Right.
Occasionally, here we smoke with people, and it opens the doors.
Yeah.
Unlike anything I have ever experienced,
Right.
ever. Is there anything that brings
Right.
different walks of people like this does?
It's just like sports. Pickup game. You
Yeah,
go to a schoolyard and you don't know anybody there. You just say, "Hey man, you want to play ball? This is the ball right here. This is the ball."
Yep.
And everybody just enjoys what's going on at the time with the ball, and we're playing something that everybody loves, and this is what we love right here.
That's a good way to put it.
Yes.
It is, and I've said when we were planning the business, you crunch all the numbers and you talk to the bankers and you do all the stuff that you have to do to run a business, but what we never accounted for were the people we would meet. And to me, I'm 100% content. Just break it. The profit is the people,
Right.
and to see their passion. It reminds me when a chef wants to come out and find out if you liked their meal or not.
Exactly.
And for us, it's just to be able to see, and you see the same people in every day, new faces, and how they come
Yes.
together.
Right.
They want to get to know each other.
Yes.
And it's so cool. What's interesting is we have a couple guys that are in here that are regulars that work at other cigar lounges, but they want this experience because it's not where they work,
Right.
and they just can't replicate it. So it's unique from that standpoint. But I think the message for people that are in other parts of the country or other parts of the city, man, find a shop that has that and embrace.
Yes.
We could teach you everything about the inside of the cigar, and we promise from moving forward, cigar newbies will constantly talk about those things.
Which is another big thing.
But education is an important thing.
Yes.
But what we're reminding people is that this is the ball.
Yes.
It is the thing
This is
that
the
makes
ball.
it fun.
Yep.
And we pass it around, and everybody gets a touch. And one night you might get the shot, another night you might get the shot.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we all just, we get along, and I mean, it's a great time. I mean, like I said, sanctuary.
Yep.
Sanctuary.
Yeah, I mean, just hit and rewind over the last 3 years to think about all the people that we've had this amazing privilege to meet, whether they were celebrities or whether it was,
Yes.
I think about how many guys, we had a guy that just talked about how he came into the shop and we educated him and spent a bunch of time, but he had lost his job and he only had $29 in his account. But whoever it was from our staff that helped him didn't treat him like he only had $29 left in his account. Treated him like it just doesn't matter. We're going to get you the best cigars you can so that you can go out and hopefully have this experience.
Right.
And so if you're smoking in your backyard, we get it, we understand it. If you can find your way here, experience what it's like, and then take it near you if that's what works for you.
This shop.
But
This is it. The
Yeah.
culture here is what you want.
it is.
Without a doubt.
Yes.
So with that, come in, be a part of what we've got going on. Be a part of whatever shop you've got going on. Enrich your life. Continue smoking cigars. Importantly, come in and meet the mayor,
Yes.
Yes.
Tyrone Demring.
I need votes.
And
I
thank
need
you
votes.
guys. Thank you guys all for coming out and just hanging out, listening to us talk about stuff that's important to us, because this is extremely important to us, and I hope you guys got something out of tonight's show. Next week we'll probably plan something that's going to be stellar, of course.
Yeah,
we'll
plan it.
probably, as far as we know. But this was fun, and if you're watching this show after it goes live, be sure to type in your information. I think what we got to do is just take the best story, and we'll direct message you, and we'll send you a couple of cigars.
Yeah, I love that. I
like
love
it.
that. So